Nancy Pelosi hints at using yet another scheme to remove President Trump from office. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has a mini meltdown following the vice presidential debate. Plus, Joe Biden gives a stunning non-answer about packing the Supreme Court. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Nancy Pelosi because she is at it again, folks. She has been after President Trump from day one. Forget the will of the people. Forget the will of the voters. Forget President Trump winning the election. She has been after him, trying to get him out of office because she knows that he shakes things up, that he wants to take out the establishment. So, first of all, she was one of the biggest cheerleaders for the Russia hoax, which has been totally debunked, totally discredited. And now we're seeing more information come out that might actually lead to problems for Barack Obama and his entire corrupt administration, which, by the way, includes Joe Biden. That was Nancy Pelosi. Then she moves on to impeachment. And remember what she said. She would not push impeachment unless it were overwhelming, compelling, and bipartisan. It was none of those things, and she pushed it anyway. Nancy Pelosi pushed impeachment, and it failed. It failed big time. But she is at it again. This time, she's talking about using the 25th Amendment to get President Trump out of power. Here's her comments from Thursday's press conference.
I don't know what the prospects are when we hear people saying I'm young and I'm a perfect specimen. Come here tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment, but not to take attention away from the subject we have now.
Do you think it's time to invoke the 25th Amendment?
I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. I'm not talking about it today except to tell you, if you want to talk about that, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so she's been making references all week long to President Trump's mental fitness. How could he recover so quickly? He must be still high from COVID treatment. He can't be this energetic. Democrats and media are freaking out. Nancy Pelosi is freaking out. And so now she's talking about using the 25th Amendment to get him out of power. So what's that? I'll explain. Section 4 of the 25th Amendment talks about removing the president from office, not through impeachment, but by an opinion, a vote of the cabinet and the vice president that says this president cannot discharge the duties. So if the vice president and the majority of a major body, and I'll explain that in a second, sign a letter, send it over to the leaders of the Senate and the House, the president could be removed from his powers. The vice president immediately steps in and has the powers of the president in the role of acting president. Now, the president himself can send a letter saying, no, I can do my duties here. I can be president. And he gets the job back. But the vice president and that majority of the body can send another letter saying, no, you can't. We are in charge, basically. And then the dispute is headed over to both chambers of Congress. They have to vote and settle the dispute. So I said major body because the Constitution gives room for what that other body is. It's the vice president and a majority of the heads of the executive department, which is the cabinet, or some other body designated by Congress. And that's what Nancy Pelosi wants to do. She wants to set up that other body so that it could go along with the vice president and try and remove President Trump from office. That's what she's hinting at. That's what she wants to push with legislation today to set up that other body. Now, reaction has been strong. President Trump got on Twitter. He tweeted this. Crazy Nancy is the one who should be under observation. They don't call her crazy for nothing. Then you have Representative Doug Collins, who blasted Pelosi by tweeting this. Speaker Pelosi will stop at nothing to take down Donald Trump. First, it was the Russia hoax, then sham impeachment. Now she's trying to invoke the 25th Amendment because he fully recovered from the coronavirus. We won't let her get away with it. Then you've got Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona. He tweeted this. Congressional Democrats have not stopped their quest to remove President Trump from office since the day he was sworn into office, working night and day to overturn the will of Americans. Here is another installment of their pathetic series. So, how could this happen? I mean, after all, you need the vice president, and Mike Pence is the vice president. He'd never turn on President Trump. As we saw on Wednesday, he backed him up big time. But remember when I went over the crazy election scenarios? Say the president doesn't win the majority in the electoral college. Say it's a tie. Okay, the tie is decided in Congress. House of Representatives votes on the president. And if he controls the majority of delegations in the states, say the House reelects President Trump. Well, if the Senate flips sides, they could elect Kamala Harris as vice president. Now you've got a Democrat vice president. You've got this new commission set up by Nancy Pelosi, and they could come together, sign the letter, remove President Trump from office, and Harris would become acting president. Now it's crazy, it's far-fetched, but Pelosi is actually hinting at this and actually going to push legislation to set up that body. It's unbelievable. That's Nancy Pelosi. So next, let's talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day. We only need about 5,000 more, folks. So please subscribe. We can do it with your help. Okay, so let's talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she had a mini meltdown on Wednesday night during and following the vice presidential debate. Now, during it, Mike Pence brought up AOC a number of times in the Green New Deal because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are running scared from being linked to the Green New Deal, even though they're proposing far-left policies just like AOC. But Mike Pence made reference to AOC and the Green New Deal. She came back and tweeted this. For the record, Mike Pence, it's Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to you. Are you kidding me? So, AOC, it's actually Vice President Mike Pence to you. Unbelievable. And then she came back with this gem. Pence demanding that Harris answer his own personal questions when he won't even answer the moderators is gross. An exemplary of the gender dynamics so many women have to deal with at work. Oh my gosh, where do I even start? Gender dynamics? Harris dodged and dodged and dodged. The moderator should have asked Harris that question. Vice President Mike Pence did, and good for him. But on Harris's side, she had to know that was coming. Joe Biden has been asked that question on court packing. Harris had to know it was coming, and she did a terrible job. She was basically just a poor debater. And a number of people have said that out there. Just own up to it. She got smoked in the debate, and AOC's talking about gender dynamics. Now, on the flip side, I'm actually going to cut AOC a little bit of slack because it's understandable some of her frustrations because she is pushing this far left agenda. And at least publicly, in their campaign speeches and their rhetoric, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are trying to distance themselves from AOC. So it's got to be driving her nuts. It's funny to watch. In the debate, Kamala Harris said she was opposed to fracking. Now, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have made statements on video. You can see it saying they will ban fracking. But comes this debate, come these new public statements, she says, I'm opposed to it. We're not going to ban fracking. So AOC, of course, is freaking out. She tweeted this. Fracking is bad, actually. So Biden and Harris, or Harris and Biden, however it is, are just running scared from the Green New Deal as far as their public persona. They are hiding from it, even though they push policies that are as far left as AOC. AOC's got to be frustrated, but in reality, as we showed previously, she's really just waiting, hoping, begging that Joe Biden can get into office, and then she can unleash.
Overall, we can likely push Vice President Biden in a more progressive direction across policy issues.
So AOC is having her meltdown, feeling disrespected. Oops, I'm sorry. As Congresswoman AOC, maybe she'll block me too, like John Roberts, since I'm not giving her her due deference, her proper respect. So now let's talk about Joe Biden in this court packing and dodging that he and Kamala Harris were doing, which is why Mike Pence was asking her that question. We have Joe Biden. In the first debate, it came up. Joe Biden dodged the question. He actually refused to answer the question on packing the Supreme Court. And Chris Wallace let it go. He just let it go. He did not press him on that. when Joe Biden refused to answer. Then we have the vice presidential debate where Harris wasn't even asked about it. The moderator didn't even ask her this big, obvious elephant in the room question. So Mike Pence had to do it, and Kamala Harris choked, couldn't even give an answer. It was pathetic. Well, guess what? On the campaign trail on Thursday, Joe Biden was in Arizona, and he was asked about it, and his answer is absolutely stunning, and no real journalist should find it satisfactory. No journalist should let it go, and here's the story. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden pledged Thursday to come clean about his stance on packing the court after the election. During a campaign swing through Arizona with running mate Kamala Harris, Mr. Biden said the focus should be on President Trump's rush to fill an opening on the Supreme Court before the presidential inauguration. Are you kidding me? He'll come clean on this issue after the election? It sounds like Obamacare, folks, where you had to vote for it before they would tell you what's in it. Vote for it, and then we'll let you know what's inside this bogus legislation that is going to end your choice, your doctor, your insurance plan. We'll tell you all about that after you vote for it. It's absolutely unreal. How can this be an acceptable answer? And here's more from Biden. You will know my opinion on court packing when the election is over, Mr. Biden said in response to a question. It is a great question, and I don't blame you for asking. But you know, the moment I answer that question, the headline in every one of your papers will be about that. Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris have repeatedly refused to say whether they would pack the court if Mr. Trump's nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, is confirmed as the replacement for the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Oh my gosh. It's stunning, folks. Joe Biden says, I'm not going to answer that because my answer would make headlines. That's what you would talk about. He's running for president of the United States. Any comment these candidates make makes headlines. That's what it's all about. Journalists can't let this go. Anyone who doesn't push this or report this is corrupt. This is where journalism is right now. And if you don't see it on ABC or NBC or CBS or PBS, turn the channel, because this should be the issue. Following Biden, following Harris, answer the question. To dodge it is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. But as far as our show's concerned, it is a perfect segue to ask Biden and Harris and journalists in general, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, a relaxed brain.
All right, folks, let's start with USA Today. Okay, the newspaper whose Washington bureau chief is Susan Page. She was the one who moderated the vice presidential debate. Okay, USA Today, after the debate, put out a poll. They tweeted out a poll. Who won the vice presidential debate? Well, they left off one very interesting answer. USA Today apparently forgot about Vice President Mike Pence Wednesday night when the newspaper tweeted a poll asking who won the vice presidential debate and listed only Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, the pesky fly, and I didn't watch as options. The mistaken tweet was posted shortly after the end of the debate, which was moderated by USA Today's Washington bureau chief, Susan Page. Senator Ted Cruz tweeted an image of the now deleted poll and asked, think the media has an agenda? Mike Pence isn't even listed as an option on their poll. Are you kidding me? A vice presidential poll without the vice president in it, but the pesky fly makes it? It's absolutely unreal. So, because it's relaxed brain, we cannot have a relaxed brain this week without talking about the Commission on Presidential Debates. This organization, this entity has to go. It says it's nonpartisan, but it's full of just establishment anti-Trumpers. It's unreal. And the moderator they have for this next debate, Steve Scully from C-SPAN, he was an intern for Joe Biden, and just last night, he tweeted this. Anthony Scaramucci, should I respond to Trump? All right, Scaramucci was White House communications director for Trump and has turned into a big never Trumper. What is Steve Scully, the moderator for the next debate, a former Joe Biden intern, what's he doing tweeting to a never Trumper? And this is supposed to be the next moderator. It is so bogus. We need a different system starting the very next time. I mean, no more of this nonpartisan commission. It's absolutely outrageous. And now the moderator, a former Joe Biden intern, is tweeting to never Trumpers. It's bogus, folks. So let's end with some top-notch reporting from the Babylon Bee. All right. We saw Joe Biden's response in Arizona to being asked about court packing. What about Kamala Harris's response to the same question? Here's the Bee. Kamala Harris pulls fire alarm when asked about packing the Supreme Court. I love that. And then there's Joe Biden, whose gaffes continue. He had another one recently where he was talking about a black woman as the person who's stocking the shelves while you're at home, which goes in a long line of anti-black comments that keeps coming out of his mouth. So here's the latest from the Babylon Bee on Joe Biden. Biden confused by woman of color on TV who isn't stocking grocery shelves. What can you even say to that one? That one got me right there. It is so classic because he gaffes like that over and over and over again. He thinks that the black community can only think a certain way, can only vote a certain way, I guess can only do certain jobs. That's Joe Biden. Awesome for the Bee for pointing it out. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.